Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time. Troy and Trevor Howard here, and we are excited to be with you guys today. We have an amazing episode, and it is called What to Do When Competitors Copy You. Your competitors are watching you. They see your success, your unique strategies, your creative marketing, and then they copy you. But here's the truth. Being copied means you already are in the lead. That's awesome. Being copied means you are being successful. So in this episode, we're going to be going over how smart business owners can flip copycats into fuel for growth instead of frustration, right? A lot of times people are like, oh, they're copying what I did. And they get all mad. And then, and they start thinking with their ape brain is what I call it. You know, their mammal brain. They're not thinking clearly. Or animal brain, I guess that would be their animal brain. They're not thinking clearly, and they end up, focusing on things that don't matter instead of seeing it from a different perspective, which we're going to be talking about today, and being able to move forward and be successful. So, all right, Troy, jump in. Let's get this episode going.
Yeah, like Trevor said, when your competitors are copying you, that usually means that you're doing something right? And they're trying to catch up with you. So the reasons your competitors copy you is because they lack originality. They see your success and they want to shortcut it. Basically, they want to try to just copy you to be successful like you are. Or they want to compete without innovating, without coming up with something new on their own. And so those are the main reasons why your competitors will copy you. A good example of that is if you think about these big brand wars out there, like Pepsi versus Coke, right? Yes, Pepsi and Coke taste different, but very similar products,
right?
And they are just, going after each other, and they've been doing it for probably 100 years now. Copying each other's, all the different things that they've done, fighting all along the way. So this is not something new. If you have a competitor that's out there copying you, again, it happens to all the best businesses out there because nobody copies the worst businesses. So if nobody's copying you, then you might be like, why isn't anybody copying me? Maybe I need to change something in my business.
Yeah.
So take it as a compliment that they are copying you. Now, let's talk about, Trevor kind of mentioned the negative reactions to avoid. Like he said, a lot of times if someone copies you, you get super upset, you get hyper focused on them, and you lose focus of what you need to be doing in your business because you're so focused on them copying you. So the first thing is, don't panic, don't lash out emotionally, right? Avoid getting distracted from your long-term vision. Right? Because think about it, for your competitors, if they can get you distracted on continuing to innovate and continuing to grow your business, they've won. Right? So don't waste resources on obsessively monitoring their every move. Again, we've seen it happen with business owners. They get so focused on their competitors' business that they ignore their own business. Yeah. And then they start to slip. So, you need to avoid these negative reactions. Now, what you want to do is, really have strategic responses to those people that are copying you. So the first thing you want to do, number one response, double down on your strengths, meaning focus on what truly differentiates you from your competitors. Right? So is that your customer service? Is that your brand? Is that the experience that the customers have when they use you versus using your competitor? Start focusing on what makes you different, because guess what? Most likely, they're not going to be able to copy that. They may try, right? They may say, oh, well, they have such great customer service. We're going to copy them and we're going to have great customer service like them. But guess what? A lot of times they can't, because they don't have the employees in place to provide the service that you provide. So focus on what makes you different and then double down on that. Let people know, hey, look, this is why you want to go with us, because maybe they copied your marketing. So the marketing is similar, but you focus on, look, our customer service is amazing. Our experience, the experience you're going to have with us is amazing. You're not going to get that at our competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great example of that would be Chick-fil-A versus other fast food chains, right? People love Chick-fil-A. They love the experience. I mean, the quality of the food is great, but also just the experience when you're there, the way that they treat you, the way that their employees answer, and talk to you. Every time, I think it's, every time you say thank you to them, they say, it's my pleasure.
My pleasure.
Right? They're trained to say that. So you think about that versus walking into, a Burger King and the difference there. Huge difference. Burger King can't give they don't give the same experience that Chick-fil-A does. Right. So Chick-fil-A leans into that customer service, and that's what they're known for, right? The next thing is we want to talk about is basically, innovate continuously, right? So when your competitors start copying you, that means you need to just focus on innovating more and continue to get better, right? Stay one step ahead of them by evolving, right? And I love this. Competitors can only copy what you've already done.
Yeah.
So, that's it. That's all they can copy. They can't copy what you're about to do, what you're doing in the future, what you're doing to make your company better. They can't copy that because you haven't done it yet. So they have no idea. We were actually just in one of our meetings this morning, we were talking about another company that copied us years ago. And, it was one of our employees that they had a home inspection done. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got this notification to leave a review and this looks exactly like our system, And we're like, yep, it does look like our system because they copied us. They copied every single thing that we did. But what they weren't able to copy is our customer service, the experience that people have with us, the results that we get people. And they aren't able to copy the innovation that we're doing. And I'm going to give you a little teaser here, but we have some amazing stuff coming out with our SoTellUs review platform that nobody out there is doing. Nobody's doing it but us. Yep. And they're not going to be able to copy that. We're going to blow people away with the new stuff that we're doing. Right? We're not.
If you want a little sneak peek, go check out our Facebook page.
Oh, there you go. Trevor's giving it away, giving a little bit away there. So go visit the Facebook page and see what we're doing. But again, we're staying ahead of them, right? That's the key. Now, the other thing too, another strategy is tell your story better, right? Customers often care about the why behind what you do, not just the what you do, right? So being able to tell a story and being able to explain to them why this is so important to you, why you do it this way, right? Versus the what, that's going to separate you as well. Strong branding makes copycats irrelevant. So that's really important to understand, right? They might be able to copy your ads. They might be able to copy, the special you're running and things like that, but they can't copy your brand and your story, right? And guess what? Odds are, if they're just copying you, they don't have a good story, right? And they don't have a good brand because they have to copy you in order to get, to find any success. So make sure you tell your story better. Next one is leverage credibility and trust. And this one is so important, right? You need to highlight your reviews, your years of experience, your proven results. You need to show, and in all of your marketing, on your websites, your social media, everywhere, it should be full of your credibility and why they can trust you. Because again, they can't copy that, right? If you have 500 5-star Google reviews and everybody is raving about what a great job you do, and they have 10 Google reviews and they have a 4.2, they can't copy you. They can't copy your reviews, right? So push forward on that and show that and make that a big part of your marketing so that when people compare the two of you, maybe you're running the exact same special, but when they look at your company and go, wow, 500 reviews and a 4.9 star rating, wow, 10 reviews and a 4.2, I know who I'm going to hire, right? So make sure you're doing that. The other thing that your competitors can't fake is relationships, right? They can't fake the relationships that you have with your customers. So making sure that you have a great relationship with your customers, that they can trust you, that's going to take you so much farther than what your competitors are going to be able to do. And the final one we're going to talk about is, decide if legal protection is necessary, right? Like, is there something that they're copying that you can patent or do trademarks over or have copyrights if appropriate? Now make sure that you understand what you can protect yourself with and what you can't. Right? Because there's a lot of people out there that'll be like, oh, you need to do all of these legal filings and do all of this stuff and protect yourself. And guess what? It's not going to protect yourself, right? So you need to make sure you're educated on what is worth legally protecting and what is not, because you don't want to spend a lot of time, energy, and effort protecting something that really can't be protected.
Like you can't enforce it in court. I mean, people do this all the time. They write up contracts or they do these different things and it's not enforceable. So they're going to lose. You're going to lose anyways. Like people think, oh, well, but so-and-so may not know that or whatever that is that looks like. And it's like, you're just wasting your time.
Yep, exactly.
And your money, because you're going to pay a lawyer and the lawyer really should be advising you that, this isn't going to really hold up in court.
Yeah,
so,
because that's the other thing too. Like, you need to avoid legal battles unless it's significant to your business model. I want you to think about this for a second. Just because you have something protected doesn't mean you're not going to have to spend a ton of money and energy then going after them to protect it. So you have to it has to be so valuable to your business that you're willing to spend a ton of money to not just get the protection in place, right, with trademarks or patents or things like that. But then you're going to have to be willing to, I am willing to invest the $100,000 it's going to take me to legally fight them over this, right? And then you need to think about in your business, what could you do with that $100,000 to grow the business? So just make sure you're smart when it comes to protection. All right, let's see. Okay, the last little part here, we're going to talk about, look, people are going to copy you. So turn it into an advantage, right? Use copycats as validation that you're the one leading the pack, right? I take it as a compliment. When people, copycat or copying what we're doing, I take that as a compliment and they say, oh, well, I see this other company and they're doing, something very similar to you. Yep, absolutely. They are, because they saw our success. They saw what a wonderful job we do with our clients and they're trying to copy us, right? But they don't have what we have. We're leading the pack. We're innovating. We're doing the latest and greatest things and they are not. They're just copying us from behind, and the other thing too is being copied forces you to stay sharp and again, innovate, keep moving forward, right? Which is good for your business. And remember that is good for your business. So look, if they're copying you, that means you're already in the lead.
Yep.
And just make sure that you're focused on staying in the lead and not looking back at the people that are chasing you from behind. Yep. All right. Anything else you want to add, Trevor?
You know what? Don't fear being copied. Fear being forgettable. Because I would fear being forgotten before I would fear being copied. And I think, Troy, you did a really good job going over that and really bringing it home. I think a lot of our clients are gonna relate to that. A lot of our listeners are going to relate to that. They've been copied over the years. It can be frustrating, but if you look at it from the right perspective and then, really look at it as the opportunity that it is that Troy just went over of always staying fresh, always be looking at what you're doing and how you're doing it and what should you be improving, what programs and systems and tools, and how, just because you did something this way doesn't mean you do it forever. I was just talking with a client the other day. There's been a client with us for a long time, and they're just added on additional services to bring in more leads, more business. And they were like, my business has been referrals. And I said, oh yeah, classic. Trust me, classic. Everybody, and you want your business to be heavy in referrals. And he said, but the problem I'm running into, and I was like, I already know it. Let me guess. Just let me take a guess. And he's like, all right, go ahead and guess. I said, your clientele is dying off. He was like, yes, that's exactly what's happening. He's like, they're dying off. And so I'm not getting as many referrals from them, and I'm not getting repeat business. And I'm like, exactly. I totally understand. And that's what we tell people all the time. You really want to have all the pieces. You want to have all the ingredients to make the pie really delicious, right? And so, but it's funny, just because you've done something one way for a very long time, be grateful that you've been able to do it for a long time. But I would recommend always staying sharp and always staying fresh and looking at what can I improve. Just because you mailed things in the mail doesn't mean you continue to do that today. You got to be using text messages and emails and all the different things. So don't get stuck in the past. And don't worry about when somebody else, of course, they're going to copy you, because you're awesome and you're doing a great job. So, all right, guys. Well, this week, I would say homework is obviously look at, if you know that someone's copying you about something specific, okay, great. Make some alterations, make some changes, make that shift. But it doesn't matter if anybody's copying you or not. Make the shift. Take a look at your business as a whole. Take pieces of it and say, what do I already know? Most of you probably have something in your minds as you're listening to us that needs to change. And it needs to change. It's needed to change for a long time. Get it done. Get it done this week. Take the steps to get that at least closer to getting it done. All right. Well, hey, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Every week, we enjoy spending our time with you, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of SoTellUs Time.